Hi guys, welcome back to another video. And you know how when an idea just sort of falls into your lap for a video? Well, that just happened to me yesterday. I was checking my emails, and you guys know, as much as I hate DevilInspired, I do have a subscribe to their email list just in case I see something that's interesting, because then I can just go and find it on Taobao and get it for a very good price. But I saw something in my inbox yesterday from DevilInspired, and I just said, okay, I have to make a video about this because I keep seeing this all the time, and it's always from DevilInspired. Okay, 99% of the time it's from DevilInspired. Some other brands do this, but one of the things that I've talked about before on the channel, and this time I'm really gonna need your guys' engagement for this one, because we are going to be talking about costume inspired Lolita, or Lolita inspired costumes. Like, I don't really know what the correct terminology for this one is, but basically it's these Lolita pieces, dresses, such and such, that brands will release that are at their core like based on the outfit of some anime character, but it's a Lolita dress, but in some regards it's often just a costume. So you guys know how I feel about like the conflation between costumes and Lolita. I think these things should be completely separate. I think Lolita is a legitimate fashion choice, I say as I have my bare ears and candies in my hair, but it genuinely is a real fashion that people enjoy, that people wear, and it's, a legitimate thing. It has, there's some basis for it. And so there are, of course, the normies that will look at this and think that I'm wearing a costume, but the reality is most Lolitas are still, especially like in the West, trying to push Lolita as a legitimate fashion. And what can kind of get in the way of showing the normies that this is a real fashion is when you have people trying to push costumes as Lolita when they are very clearly costumes. And when I say they're very clearly costumes, I'm not trying to talk about like what the outfit is like let's say it's based on an anime character. Okay, if the dress material is still that of a standard Lolita dress, like the material of the dress, the way the dress is constructed, that for me is perfectly fine. So I feel the need to place my opinion right here at the beginning before we get into this, just so you guys know where I stand. I don't have a problem with themed cords or themed dresses. I have a problem with dresses that are basically just costumes being pushed as Lolita because it's frilly, frou-frou, roughly, and those kinds of things. That's where I have a problem, because it's not Lolita at that point. It's a costume that resembles a Lolita dress, but like it's not actually Lolita in any other conceivable way. You have props and toys, and there's nothing wrong with props in a Lolita coordinate, but again, you really have to see it, and it's like basically on a case-by-case basis. Like, it's very easy to recognize costume material. Like when the material of the dress is meant to be a costume, like if you're showing up looking like Sailor Moon, literally like Sailor Moon's outfit, that's a costume. Now, if you have a Sailor Moon inspired coordinate where you have a dress that's maybe a Sailor themed dress, like a Sailor coordinate, and you have some like trinkets, like pieces like this that are Sailor Moon themed, that to me is okay. That to me is not like a costume. There's a difference there. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at a few releases. We're going back to hell, which is DevilInspired's Instagram page, and we're going to take a look at a bunch of different things that they have on there. And again, I need you guys to engage with me on this one. I'm going to need you guys to tell me, would you let these outfits fly or not? Alright guys, very quickly before we get right into it, I do want to say it is raining here, like very hard, like there's some thunder outside, so apologies if you can hear that, hopefully you cannot. But we are going to look at the dresses that I have for you guys today, and this was the one that I got in the email. So this Quelamachi Madoka Magica dress, you guys have probably heard of this anime before if you're not 12. No offense, but this is a little bit of an older anime. I saw a little bit of it, like I vaguely remember watching like a little bit of it, but I didn't really watch the series, so I don't have too much knowledge about it. But this is the email that I got, and it really like made me think, like, so this particular dress, which is sold out, by the way, if you did want it, it's unfortunately sold out. But this dress here, so I was looking at this one and I was kind of debating in my head, like, how do I feel about this one? Because it's very clearly a dress, like, right? Like, the construction to me looks fine. It doesn't look super costumey. There are bows on the side, of course. There's a bow on the back, right? Like, it's not like I'm not saying that there's a problem with bows on dresses, but when it's a costume, like generally the bows are not well constructed and you can tell, and they tend to overdo it, like with these costumey dresses. This one to me feels okay. Like, I feel like if I saw someone wearing this, I wouldn't go like screaming, "Oh my gosh, it's a costume!" But this one looks okay to me. Like, this is kind of like what I say, or what I mean when I say Lolita-Inspired, or it's, I guess, costume inspired, or if they were to say this is not Lolita, but it's Lolita-Inspired, I would take that as well, because then you're not saying it's just flat out Lolita. Now this one on the website, of course, it is saying Lolita dress, because you guys know how DevilInspired is. They call anything Lolita. Now they are getting better, and a lot of the tweets that we're gonna look at today, they actually don't call it Lolita, which I'm perfectly in support of. But for this one, when I saw it, I was like, I want your guys' opinion on this one. I think this one I would be okay with. It doesn't look overly costumey. She's got like, the shoes look nice, the socks look nice. They're not like, she's not wearing wrist belts, she's wearing like these little elegant gloves, which is fine. And the headwear looks okay. Sometimes the headwear can kind of ruin it, because again, an obvious like costume, like sort of headwear it can be very clear, but this looks okay to me. So I feel like if I saw someone wearing this at like a Lolita meetup, I feel like I'd be okay with it. I feel like I wouldn't be like, this is like clearly and obviously a costume. So I'm okay with this one. I think this is like a good example of like Lolita inspired sort of dress, or anime inspired Lolita dress. I feel like I'd be okay with this one. And so this one was also included in the email. It is another Pola Magi Madoka Magica dress. So this one, again, like, because it's labeled as a collaboration, it makes me feel like this is more akin to Lolita rather than being a costume. And it very much looks like perfectly fine for Lolita. Like, again, the shoes, socks, the headwear, it all looks fine to me. Very large dress, A-line, it looks like. Now, it appears that this is a jacket on top, like it's not like attached, like this is two different pieces, like it's a skirt. Yeah, it says it's a full set, so I'm assuming it's a skirt and a top jacket. So again, for me, this looks okay. I don't see anything jumping out that it's poorly constructed material. You know, there's no like weird props or anything like that like sort of like start pushing into costume territory. Something like this, I think I would say is okay. Now, if you were going to try to categorize it, I don't know what you would say. Like, would you say sweet? Would you say like classic? Because I know classic is very specific. Just because something looks fancy doesn't mean it's classic. So I don't know that this would like slide into classic territory. I think it probably would still be sweet, maybe. I feel like that's why I think this costume sort of like inspired thing is a little bit tricky, because like, if you are going to categorize it, like, where are you going to put it? Like, should it be its own category? Personally, I would probably say yes, just so that we're not like having an even bigger debate about what's going on here. But, you know, that's kind of like, for these two, the first two that we've looked at, I think I would say that these are okay. But do let me know what you think about these. However, as I mentioned before, we are going to go into the hellscape that is the DevilInspired Instagram page. And, you know, there's so much on there. Now, again, I think they are much better at labeling things as Lolita and things that are not Lolita. So I think they are getting better at that. So we're not seeing too many crazy complete and total costumes being labeled Lolita anymore, which is great. But I did want to look at a few things. So this is a little video. I've seen this model on their page many times before, and look at, as you can see on the tags, Alice in Wonderland theme. It says LolitaCore. Again, they're pulling the LolitaCore thing where they're like, I'm not gonna say it's Lolita because I don't want Diamond the Storm to make a YouTube video about me dragging them again. But I am gonna say LolitaCore because it's got those Lolita vibes. So again, Alice in Wonderland is very common in Lolita. Like, there are many Alice in Wonderland themed dresses, which again, I think are perfectly fine. And this is one that I think is fine, like passes the vibe check. Because when I think of Alice in Wonderland inspired, I want to see a dress that gives vibes of Alice in Wonderland, but does not have like a picture of Alice on it, or is like Alice's exact dress. Because again, to me, when you're wearing like the exact outfit that she's wearing, it feels more like a costume. When it's inspired, when it's something like this, I think it's okay. I think that this, like, again, passes the vibe check. It's a different dress. It doesn't look overly costumey. I could see someone saying that it looks like a costume just because you can probably very clearly read that it's Alice in Wonderland. She's got the ears on. So some people might say that this looks like a little bit too much like a costume. For me, I think I would let this one pass. Again, for me, like a costume, like it has to really look like a costume. The material has to look like a costume. This is not like a lace monster. There's a lot of ruffles, but I don't see like an overbearing amount of lace. So it passes like that regard. I don't know what it's made out of, so I couldn't say like for sure, like how does it feel on you? Would it feel like a Lolita dress? I couldn't say that. But just the way that it looks, I think I would be okay with this one because again, it's themed. It's not like an actual costume dress. So again, you guys are gonna have to let me know about each of these, or the ones that like jump out the most to you, how you feel about them. For me, this one feels all right. So we made it to Cardcaptor Sakura themed cute core. Now, okay, this one says Lolita Coord and Lolita Fashion. Okay, so this one is actually tagged Lolita, so I kind of have to be a little bit about this one. So you've got the props, which is not always a bad thing in Lolita, but this one, it's a little bit on the nose. You've got the very, very cat-looking cat ears. Again, when you think about Lolita, you're thinking about a very, I don't know if you can see it behind my head, but a very cutesy ear. Like, it sort of fits into the cord. It doesn't look real. When you get ears that look very real, that's when it starts to look very costumey. The material is not particularly screaming at me that this is not a costume. The wig is not particularly screaming at me that this is not a costume. This one to me it's really giving costume. Like I think those are, I can't tell what the footwear is. Like again, so you have like a picture of what like the dress is supposed to look like, the blouse is supposed to look like. I can't tell if she's wearing like a flat shoe, and it looks like a boot. Like it looks like she's wearing boots. Like I can see it around her leg. So these look like she's wearing boots, which I would imagine if you're wearing the costume that you would be wearing boots. So you've got footwear that's pushing it. Yeah, here it's clearly a boot. So you've got footwear that's pushing it. You've got an accessory that's pushing it. You've got cat ears that are pushing it. This one I would say is just the costume. Like unfortunately, it says again in the description, anime-inspired Lolita dress. But I think this is a little bit, I think you've left Lolita a little bit here. I mean, obviously you can wear a petticoat under this, but even so, it looks like you could just wear this without a petticoat. And it would just be, I mean, you probably couldn't, like, because the dress in the anime is like floofed up, but what I'm saying is it doesn't look like it holds a petticoat very well. Like just looking at the way the dress looks, and again, everything else here, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to say this one is not Lolita. This one just looks pretty much just like a costume, and this is the kind that I have a problem with. Like the previous ones were very clearly like inspired by the source material. Like it was inspired by Alice in Wonderland, it was inspired by Puella Magi Madoka Magica, it was inspired by it, but it didn't look like a costume. It didn't look like you were just wearing the characters dressed like just blatantly. This one just looks like a costume. I'm sorry, it's not. The ears are too realistic. The scepter is clearly the one from the show, and it's just not, it's not really giving Lolita anymore of the fact that just the petticoat under it. If you were to take the petticoat out from under it, what about this is Lolita again? So yeah, that's kind of where we get into like the muddy waters here of like what is like Lolita and what is like Lolita-Inspired and what is like a costume. Like this one again, it says very well stitched Lolita fashion dress. So I think this is like kind of pointing out that a lot of times these costumes are not constructed well. So again, you can see the side by side here with what the character is supposed to look like and what the outfit is supposed to look like. And again, it's just, this one just feels too costumey to me. Like it feels like it's just too on the nose. It's very literally just the character's dress, which for a simple dress like this, I don't really know what else you could do. But I mean, even the beret, like generally when you see a Lolita beret, it's a little bit like, it just looks like a costume. Like this, I hope you guys like can see what I'm saying here. I don't think there's anything wrong with the outfit itself. I think calling it Lolita is just a bit much, because if you were again to go to like a con with other Lolitas and like let's just say, because I feel like a lot of people don't think about this, let's say no one else is wearing sweet and you're the only one there wearing this with a bunch of goth Lolitas and a bunch of classic Lolitas. I feel like you would do a lot harder blending in with those types of Lolitas compared to if everyone there was wearing sweet, which is kind of why people like, I think they use sweet to kind of push the boundaries, because sweet can kind of get away with looking very costumey. You can't really do that with classic. It'll look very obvious. With goth, it will kind of look a little bit obvious if you're just kind of like pushing like some goth girl in anime. With sweet, you can kind of get by because there's a lot of bows, there's a lot of ruffles. I get it. There's a lot of pink, but like for this one, again, it's just a little bit too on the nose here. You're very literally just dressed up as the anime character and you have a petticoat on. So like for this, I'm back to pushing like costume, because, and again, it's like a cute. My thing with this is like I don't have a problem with the idea of dressing like an anime character. Like cosplay, I have no problem with cosplay. I have a problem with trying to push cosplay as Lolita and say that those are the same thing. Like they're not. Like there's nothing wrong with just being a cosplayer. I don't know why there's like this huge like sense of honor and dignity and wonder about the later Lolita being like upon you. Like this is like this thing on social media lately that I don't understand. Like why do you need the Lolita label so bad? Why can't you just be a Cardcaptor Sakura cosplayer? Like what is the problem with that? So Anyway, this one again, definitely a costume. I can't really say this is Lolita in any regard. Now, for whatever reason, this one is not labeled Lolita. This one is labeled LolitaCore again. I think it's because it's very obviously like not a dress. Like I don't know, like it's the poofy pants, the poofy hat. She's got the gloves on. The shoes are fine. I think the shoes are fine. The gloves again are a little bit. You're clearly just dressed as the character. Like this is like the difference between an inspired coordinate and I am dressing up as the character. And my outfit is very puffy and ruffly. Like looking at the sleeves, like doesn't look like the best. Like it looks like if you were to see a puffy Lolita sleeve, it would not really, or it shouldn't be sinking in like that. It would be like puffed out a bit. So the way that the dress looks, you know, like the character, you can see that the sleeve is puffed. So if you're gonna have a costume of the character, you would expect that the costume is probably gonna be made that the sleeves are not gonna puff perfectly. Or if it's a Lolita dress, there's material that you can kind of like make the sleeve look like it's a little bit puffy, which is not here. Which is why I'm concluding all of those things put together, this is probably just a costume. So I don't get the LolitaCore here. I especially don't get the LolitaCore here because I'm pretty sure this is clearly not a dress, right? Like, if this is a dress, then correct me if I'm wrong, but like, Lolita more or less has to be like a dress or a skirt, right? So just, again, just the cutesy look and trying to push it as Lolita, why can't you just say what it is? Like, it doesn't have to be, you can just have like a cutesy look and not be Lolita. I don't know what this LolitaCore push is doing here. Just wear your cute costume, it's fine, no one cares, but you're pushing into costume territory and calling it LolitaCore, and you're confusing. Like my problem is that this is going to confuse people who are new to Lolita, who are going to remove themselves completely from the internet and just buy this at a store, show up at a LolitaCon, not a Comic-Con. A Comic-Con is fine, but show up at a LolitaCon and think this is like what we wear, and it's not like my thing. So this is the one we saw before, and we've got the side by side. I pulled this one up so we can see the side by side. Like, guys, like, come on now, this is clearly a costume. Like, this is not in any universe a Lolita dress. And again, if they had just done LolitaCore, I would be a lot more forgiving. Not that much forgiving because this is DevilInspired, but Lolita dress is tagged here. So like you're pushing that this is a Lolita dress here, that this is something you can just completely and totally normally walk up to your, again, local Lolita meetup in, and everyone's just gonna be like, yes, hello. You're basically pulling the hello, my fellow Lolitas, when you're wearing a costume, and it's not gonna fly. I'm trying to protect the youth here from showing up at a con. And I mean, I don't think anyone's gonna be like outright rude to you if you show up wearing this. Like maybe, like, but clearly people are gonna be like, this is not what we're here for. Like, you can't sit with us. Like, I'm sorry, this is not really what we're all about here. And just the fact that this is like, I mean, like, she could have been saved. We could have saved her. We could have saved her. Get rid of those ears and get something like very cutesy and plush. The apron thing is kind of pushing it, but like get a more toned down apron, like a small apron maybe. Get a little bit more like, honestly, get rid of the boots, just get some heels that sort of resemble the right color. The scepter, like maybe it's a little bit smaller, a little more elegant. Like, we could have saved her, guys. She could have been saved. We could have saved this dress. Unfortunately, this one is just basically just a full-on costume, and it's not going to fly, unfortunately. So this one, I thought this one was interesting. So it's like a Cthulhu-themed dress. It's not tagged. Oh wait, I'm wrong. It is tagged Lolita outfit. I thought it wasn't. When I first saw this, I thought it was just tagged like Cthulhu vibes, which is interesting. But it's also tagged EGL Lolita. Now, I think. Okay, now I see the tail. I was about to really reach to the moon. I was really about to reach. All the eyes on it is a bit much. I think all the eyes on it might be a little bit much. I was looking at the picture without all the eyes on it. But then there's like the weird like neck thing because it's like cat themed. I really don't know. Like I was like, the material looks okay. All this extra stuff on the sides is uncommon in Lolita, but not like impossible to have. But the sleeves are a little bit odd. Again, the neck thingy with the cat ears is a little bit odd. You've got this like thing going around it, which is clearly just for decoration, but like you're trying to like sort of, it's sort of pushing it's really, really pushing the costume for me. Like I'm struggling to say if I saw someone wearing this, I would be like, I mean, I'd probably like the dress. Like the dress is interesting, but you got the eyes all over the place. You got the bats aren't really a problem, but the eye bat thing with the ears. A couple of those bows look a little crusty. You guys are gonna really have to help me out on this one. I'm not so sure this one, because the thing that I think, I don't know that I would call it a costume either, because the way the dress looks is pretty, like, I could see a little dress looking like this, but I don't know. I feel like I would definitely, if I have to lean towards one or the other, I would definitely put this more in costume than Lolita, because there's just so many costume elements that it's sort of losing the Lolita for me. But you guys let me know. Would you let this one go? If you're like imagine yourself as you're like the bouncer at the Lolita meetup. Are you letting her in or not? Because she's got the eyes all over her. She's interesting for sure. She's definitely interesting. But I definitely need your guys' opinion on this one. Okay, so this one here, it's not tagged Lolita. It doesn't seem as though they're pushing this as Lolita. It just says this is an anime convention. The outfit is very cute, but you guys know me. The clown thing is never gonna happen for me. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I've said it before. These are very cute, very cool, very eccentric outfits. I like the outfit. I think it's cool, and I think it's perfectly fine for an anime con. And again, this is not tagged as Lolita, so they're not saying this is Lolita. But again, my issue with DevilInspired is they will very often like post these like things that look Lolita adjacent, like these outfits, these Coords, these like influencers who wear these very cute outfits. And because it's on a page that generally posts Lolita or Lolita fashion, people start to think that this is also Lolita fashion. And I've had people in the trenches, like in the comments, argue to death with me over this clown thing. I'm never going to accept the clown thing, guys. I know some of you guys like the clown thing. I know some of you guys think that, like, it's okay, it's Lolita. There's like, it's a very niche thing. You just don't understand. It's a very niche Lolita fashion type. You just don't get it. You're just not into it. You're wrong. You're wrong in this, guys. I don't even care if you think that I'm wrong. If there's a Lolita council somewhere in Japan where they have voted on this and they say the clown thing checks, it's not checking for me. I'm never accepting the clown thing. I'm giving you idol, well-corded idol. I'm even giving you well-corded maid. I'm even giving you well-corded maid. I'm not giving you clowns. I'm not giving you nurses. I'll give you military. I'll give you like some of these other things. I'm never giving clown. I'm sorry. It's cute. I love the look. This sis looks amazing. She looks great. I love it. The look is fine. I don't even have a problem with like circus themed, carnival themed. You guys know I have a carnival themed dress, a circus themed dress. Angelic Pretty. Other big brands have put out circus themed dresses. Okay, we're okay with the circus theme. The full clown look with the crazy hair, with the very clear, like the dress itself, it looks very costumey. Like, come on now. Like, there's nothing wrong with just saying this is a very cute, like, clown costume sort of. I don't know what they call themselves. Like, I don't want to say like clown people. Like, I don't know, like the people that like the clown like look. It's a very cute look. Like, obviously there's a lot of effort put into the costume. I don't know why that has to be like labeled as Lolita, which again, I'm gonna say it again for the millionth time because I know someone's in the comments right now. It's not tagged Lolita. They're not even trying to say it's Lolita and you're getting mad. I'm not saying that it's tagged Lolita. I'm saying that this is often pushed as Lolita on an Instagram page that tends to push Lolita fashion. Generally, when you think of DevilInspired, most people buy Lolita fashion on DevilInspired. They're not buying like the costume. No, most people don't go to DevilInspired for their costumes. So when you, as a Lolita fashion themed Instagram page, are posting the clown adjacent look that is very clearly, there's clearly a petticoat under there, like there's clearly a sort of Lolita adjacent look to it, it just confuses people. That's my only critique. It's just that it confuses people. They didn't tag it Lolita, so I'm not blaming them. I'm not going to say this post right here, this is the post that made someone think they can show up to the LolitaCon wearing clown costumes. This post go spam this post. Like, no, I'm not saying that at all. I think this is a perfectly fine outfit. I think you're perfectly fine to wear this to an anime convention. I don't have a problem with it at all. A Comic-Con, anywhere except a Lolita convention. I just don't want anyone who's not into Lolita to think that this is what Lolita is. That's why I picked the clown video, because again, really I clicked the clown video because I know you guys were gonna be, I know someone's gonna be in the comment section fighting for their life for the clown Lolitas. I don't have a problem with you wearing clown Lolita. You can wear whatever you want. It's not, I'm not accepting the clown Lolita thing. I'm sorry. A carnival themed, circus themed, that's good. The straight up clear, I'm trying to be a clown, it's just not passing the vibe check for me. We're moving on. So this is another one that it's kind of like I don't like. We have She Lolita. She Lolita is a thing I am perfectly fine with, completely valid substyle in She Lolita. Chi-Pao is, there are plenty of like Chi-Pao dresses in Lolita. So I don't know why we're doing this. I don't know why we're doing the cyberpunk Chi-Pao collar Lolita dress with detachable sleeves and the bow string. The detachable sleeve, like the material is my problem here. It looks like a costume. You've got the fuzzy, fluffy, furry leg warmers, which I like leg warmers myself. I love myself a good leg warmer. But in the what you're labeling as a Lolita dress, again, it says Lolita dress here. Even if it's not tagged, it's tagged LolitaCore. But like the detachable sleeves, like even the comments are saying like it's giving Miku Hatsune. It's giving like Miku for me. So like if it's giving Miku, like it's probably like pushing it a little bit much. Like I've seen like Chi-Pao Chi dresses that look, but like I'm not looking at it up close obviously, but just looking at it from the picture, it doesn't look like it's the most like it doesn't look like it's trying to really be Lolita. It looks like it's trying to be cyberpunk Chi-Pao. And oh my gosh, if I just make this dress, guys, I'm in the room right now with Steph. I'm pitching my ideas, guys. It's a dress, it's a Chi-Pao cyberpunk dress, but you can put a petticoat under it and the room starts applauding. Like I feel like this is what these people are doing. I feel like these people are getting into a room and they're pitching their dress idea and they're like, it's a costume from head to toe in every regard, but you can put a petticoat under it and tag it as Lolita on Instagram. Profit. Like I feel like am I just old and grumpy? Is that just what the problem is? Am I just like shaking my fist at the cloud, like, how dare you in my Lolita fashion like this? I mean, yeah, that's who I am. That's basically who I am. I've embraced it at this point. I don't see why do we have to tag these things as Lolita? I don't have a problem with you wearing a petticoat under it. I think we have all agreed in the 2020s that throwing a petticoat under everything is amazing and awesome. We love the poof. I'm a poof monster. I love a giant poof. I don't know why the costume cannot just be a costume with the poof. Can we just have costumes be poofy and not be Lolita? Is that just like a hard concept for us to get? I don't get it. I'm just not understanding it. Now this one really triggered me because I enjoy Tokyo Mew Mew, like unironically. Tokyo Mew Mew was like one of the first anime I watched when it was on like 4Kids and it was called Mew Mew Power, right?
Mew Mew style, Mew Mew grace, Mew Mew power in your face.
So I have a somewhat emotional attachment to Tokyo Mew Mew. So when I saw this, I very clearly knew that it was inspired by Mew Ichigo, because I know they did the remake recently, like they redid the series, which I haven't seen all of yet. I've seen like 1 or 2 episodes. But anyway, I saw this, all the diatribe aside. Why are you doing this to my show? Why my show? Why my show are you doing this with? Okay, now looking at these, I'm struggling. I'm debating because this is like we said before. The look of the dress looks okay, right? Sleeves look fine. It's the dress is not like, there's not like an overabundance of crazy things on it. Now the bows look a bit much. The material, I can't tell if it's great. The one on the right looks a little bit, the one on the left looks a little bit better than the one on the right for me. The one on the right looks a little sus with the material. The headwear, I don't know. It feels like it's pushing it a bit. It feels like it's pushing it. Like, the wigs are absolutely pushing it. These are clearly just Ichigo wigs for the anime character. I feel like when you have these dresses and they show like the very clear use of the petticoat, it just feels like it's not Lolita. Like when you're showing your petticoat, this because I don't know if you guys know, in Lolita, you're really not supposed to show your petticoat. Like sometimes you can see these like photographs where like the model is jumping and like you can see the petticoat like all over the place. And it's like a very cute like looking picture, which is like it is a very cute looking picture. But in Lolita fashion, you're not really supposed to show your petticoat. Like it's not supposed to be visible. If it is visible, you kind of like need to fix something there. Like you either need a shorter petticoat or a longer dress. But the fact that they're showing us the petticoat so clearly, for me, it's like it's kind of like what's ruining it. It's like it's kind of like showing like basically like this is definitely a costume. Don't take it seriously. And yet, like for this one, again, it's labeled Sweet Lolita Fashion. It's labeled Sweet Lolita Outfits in the description. So it's like if this one is clearly meant to be a Lolita dress, right? So it's like again, it's like the other one. Like we could have saved her. She could have been an okay, passable Lolita dress. She could have passed like a more standard apron. Like maybe the bow, the material of the bows could have been more okay. The headdresses could have been like constructed. Like we could have done a Mew Ichigo themed dress, and it could have been great. But instead we have this, and it's just too costumey for me. Like I really was prepared to like say this one was okay, but like I don't know, like it's kind of losing it for me now. I don't know. Like looking at it here, like with the side by side, it's clearly different. Like and that's what I like. I like if it's clearly different, but I almost feel like the actual like made costume, like elements of that would have like flown better. Like mainly the bow, like the bow with the bell on the actual like dress here. I feel like it's like making it look a little bit more costume, right? Like I feel like if you had a normal bow without the bell on it, it probably would have like passed the vibe check better. And like the heart apron, I feel like if you had just gotten like a Lolita apron, like a small apron you just put on top of the dress, I feel like that would have pushed better. Like maybe, again, the material doesn't look great, but I don't know. Some dresses just kind of look like this in the photograph. I can't tell, but like it feels like this dress had potential. It had potential to not look like a costume, and they just really, really, really want you to know that this is a Mew Ichigo dress, and you really like the strawberries all over it. Like it's like in your face. It's so in your face that it's like a costume. Like if it was more subtle and they were just like again like Tokyo Mew themes, like a charm or a ring or like a clip. I feel like you have to go more subtle, and you could say it's themed. Like when you see people wearing cinema roll themed coordinates, they're not like dressed as cinema roll. They have a blue dress or a blue and white dress, and maybe they have a headdress. Like there are cute cinema roll themed coordinates. We're not just dressed up as cinema, which is hard to say because cinema roll doesn't wear a dress or anything. Like a Tokyo Mew themed dress without the obvious elements to it could have worked, I think. But yeah, this one, it kind of disappoints me. You know, I kind of wish that, because I like I said, I like Tokyo Mew, so I would really like to see a real like nice Tokyo Mew inspired coordinate. But this is just too much. Like this is just a costume at this point, and it's really just we're just doing a little bit too much. Like I said, there was potential because it's not the exact dress, but unfortunately, it's just a little bit too much, and now it's just really pushing costume territory for me. So unfortunately, I don't know that I would let this one pass. And I got one last one for us. So I think this is the same dress we just looked at, but for whatever reason, it's tagging it as it's the Cardcaptor Sakura one, even though this is the same one we just saw. So this is the I wanted to see it like the front and center, like just the look of it, just to kind of see like can it work? And again, like looking at like the basic like shape of it and everything, like I don't have too much of a problem just with the look of it. It's this huge apron thing with the puffy sleeves as well, with the strawberry, like the big strawberry clips. Like if it was something up here, maybe that'd be okay. But it's like the big clips and the big bow with the big bell. And I usually like the big accessories. I got my big headbow on today, right? Like I got my big waist bow here. I'm usually about the big accessories. But here it's just when you have so much big going on all at once, thrown at you in your face, it starts to feel like it's a costume, because that's what you want to do with a costume, right? You want to make everything very big so you can see it. Like you don't want to have details in your, like, for example, your cosplay that people can't see, right? You want them to be like very apparent. So when you have everything so big and in your face, it's just like it kind of like ruins it. Which again, this one makes me sad. I think we could have had a very based, very cool Tokyo inspired dress, but maybe there is one out there. But unfortunately, she is not it. I'm so sorry, and I don't know what the tag says. Card Captor Sakura. That's not what this dress is. Someone on the DevilInspired team needs to be fired immediately. So that was it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Another trip into the hell that is the DevilInspired Instagram page. And let me know in the comment section below, which dresses of these did you think were perfectly fine? Which ones did you think skirted the line a little bit, but maybe they could be okay if you push it just the right way? And which ones did you think were just straight up costumes and should not be allowed in any Lolita setting whatsoever? Guys, I just have to reiterate because I know we live in a time where people just want to vibe and be free and do whatever they want, which I think to some extent is fine when it comes to Lolita fashion, like specifically when it comes to Lolita fashion, I mean, but like this like push for like, I'm going to go in my closet and grab my Halloween costume from 2 months ago and I'm gonna throw a petticoat under it and I'm gonna say it's Lolita inspired or Lolita themed. It's just a no for me. Like, it's just a bit much. Like, I just think we should keep these things separate. Lolita fashion is in its own category. Lolita inspired, Lolita themed, Lolita adjacent. All of those things can be their own category and they can be appreciated for what they have to offer. And we can all, you know, get my wigs all. Oh, I need some new wigs, guys. We can appreciate them for what they bring to the table, and we can appreciate Lolita for what it brings to the table, and we can not conflate the two. That is my message. Please vote Diamond the Storm for president. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.